Here are details of other videos in the Storybook World series, each video containing 4 beautifully animated stories. Volume 1 features the classic tale of Little Red Riding Hood.
"Oh, Grandmother," said Little Red Riding Hood, "what big ears you have."
"The better
To hear you with," said the wolf. "Oh, Grandmother, what large eyes you have," said Little Red Riding Hood.
the better to see you with,"
replied the wolf. "But oh, Grandmother, what sharp teeth you have," cried Little Red Riding Hood.
"The better to eat you with,"
growled the wolf, and he swallowed Little Red Riding Hood in one gulp.
And a story everyone can join in with, The House That Jack Built.
Ah, this is the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog, that worried the cat, that killed the rat that ate the malt, that lay in the house that Jack built.
Felix Fox is a friendly fox, although his neighbours don't know that yet. Find out how he finally makes friends in Volume 1.
"I am not a bad fox," said Felix. "I do not hunt my neighbors. I do not want my neighbors to be afraid. How can I make friends?" Felix thought. He thought and thought. He thought of a way to make friends. Felix laughed. "I will be funny," he said. "I will make my neighbors laugh. If they laugh, they will not be afraid. If I am funny, they will know I am nice." How can a fox be funny? He can look funny. He can wear lots of funny things. Bing! And that is what Felix did. Felix Fox wore a funny nose.
And the littlest pig discovers that running away from home isn't as much fun as he thought.
"Maybe I should leave," he thought. "No one will miss me. They won't even care. If they really love me, I'd know it. There would be love signs. There would be proof." So that night, when everyone was asleep, he wrote a note. It said, "If you love me, leave a sign. Your son and brother, Albert. P.S. I am running away." He put the note on the kitchen table. Then he took his blanket, his teddy bear, and 11 cookies and stepped into the shadowy night.
The Storybook World series contains a mixture of both traditional and modern tales. Volume 2 opens with Hans Christian Andersen's classic, The Ugly Duckling.
Then the grandest duck in the yard came over and said, "My, those are handsome ducklings you have. All except the gray one. It's a pity he's so odd-looking." "He is not handsome," said the mother duck, "but he swims as well as the others. Anyway, Looks are not that important.
From the ugly duckling to the duck who loved puddles.
Where could he find water?
Farmer Dodd has water in his house,
Said Puddles.
I am Farmer Dodd's pet duck. I will go in the farmhouse.
Into the farmhouse went the little duck. He looked for a wet place. He found one. Where? In the kitchen sink. Dishes were in the water. Oh, what a silly duck. Ducks cannot splash in the kitchen sink. A sink is for washing dishes. A sink is not for ducks.
A new wet place.
Cried Puddles. Into the sink he went. Splash! 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 Puddles splashed in the sink. Mrs. Dodd was in the farmhouse.
What is that splashing?
She asked. Mrs. Dodd went to look. What did Mrs. Dodd see? She saw a wet duck in her kitchen sink.
Puddles is in there.
She cried.
A pet duck in with the dishes. Oh no. Go, duck. Go. Out. Out. Out.
We go into the garden for the mystery of the missing Fuzzy.
Fuzzy Caterpillar is missing, said Grasshopper.
Can you find our friend? Asked Beetle.
Inspector Ant nodded. I will solve the case, said the inspector. I will go to the garden. I will inspect things. I will look for clues. Inspector Ant went to the garden. He looked and inspected. He inspected and looked. What a nice garden, he said. What a strange mystery.
And then there's the traditional story of the golden goose.
In the morning, Simpleton picked up his goose and walked off. He paid no attention to the three girls, who could do nothing but run behind him. Soon, they passed the parson, who cried, "Why are you running after that boy?" He took the youngest girl by the hand, meaning to stop her. But as soon as he touched her, he was stuck fast. Then the parson's helpers saw his master running by, and he cried, "Wait, parson!" And as he spoke, he touched the parson's sleeve. And was immediately stuck fast. They continued along until they passed two farmers. "Help! Help!" cried the parson's helper. But as the farmers reached out to help, they stuck to him.
There's more beautiful animation in Volume 3, which opens with the Brothers Grimm's famous Elves and the Shoemaker.
At last, the day came when he had only enough leather left to make one more pair of shoes. That evening, he carefully cut the leather into pieces and laid the pieces on his work table. Tomorrow will be here soon enough, he thought. I will finish making the shoes tomorrow. In the morning, the shoemaker went to his work table and sat down on his bench. To his surprise, the shoes were already finished. He could not understand it. He picked up the shoes and examined them closely. They were perfectly made. Every stitch was just where it was supposed to be. I could not have done a better job if I had sewn these shoes myself, he exclaimed.
Then there's the story of the mysterious old house and its magic broom.
Brenda opened the door. She did not go in. Brenda looked in. What did she see? No one. The house was empty. Only an old broom stood in the corner. Only a broom, said Brenda. Then who made those sounds? Bang! Brenda looked at the broom. The broom moved. Swish, swish. Up to the open door swished the broom. A witch's broom, said Brenda. A magic broom. This is spooky.
Aesop's Hare and the Tortoise comes to life in a new, colourful way.
Nah. You are so slow, said the hare, that I get tired just watching you. Why, if you were any slower, you would be standing still. All the other animals watched and listened. They wanted to see what the tortoise would do. The tortoise pretended to pay no attention, but he was listening, and he did not like what he heard. Say, tortoise, continued the hare, why do you bother to go anywhere at all? By the time you get there, it is time to come home again. If you can't move faster than that, someone will surely think you are a statue. Finally, the tortoise could take it no more. Look here, he said. You may scamper about quickly, but your mouth runs faster than your feet. Why, I could win a race against you without even trying. Don't be ridiculous, laughed the hare. I can run circles around you, and you know it. But the tortoise replied, you have boasted long enough. Now, let your actions match your words. I will race against you, and I will win.
And finally, Stone Soup.
Good villagers, he called. Since you have no food, perhaps you will let us borrow a large cooking pot. Then we can make a pot of stone soup. Stone soup, whispered the villagers. Who ever heard of stone soup? This is something we must find out about, whispered the mayor. Someone bring a pot, quickly! When the pot had been brought to the village square, the soldiers filled it with water and built a fire beneath it. Finding good soup stones is the most important part, they said. Then they looked and they looked. Finally, each soldier found some nice, smooth stones. They put the stones into the pot and brought the water to a boil. Then they sniffed.
Something is missing,
said the first soldier. Yes, agreed the second. But what?
Salt and pepper,
said the third, sniffing the soup. Then he turned to the villagers and said,
we know you have no food, but could you find a bit of pepper and some salt? Pepper and salt will bring out the flavor of the soup stones.
At once, the mayor's wife disappeared and came back with some salt and pepper. Thank you, said the soldiers as they shook the salt and pepper into the pot. It smells better already.
Storybook World from Stylus. 4 wonderful children's stories on every video. On sale now from all good video shops.